Hello there. Thank you for checking out the podcast. In this one, I'm speaking to David Millz. He's a known indie video game developer, known under his moniker Suits and Nukes. You may know him from games such as Stabika, Astrocreep, Voodoo Side, and, well, many, many others. So without any further ado, I present to you Suits and Nukes. I was going through your stuff. Assassin's Weed, I have to actually address.
Oh, you want to start there? That freaking place of all places? All right.
I'm sorry.
Nothing good. Let's pick up the worst thing.
The voice actor. I'm
like, you did see this game as a joke, right? If you're going for the shittiest ones.
I didn't brought up the red balloons Stabika.
Oh, yeah, that was more Matt than me, but yeah.
Well, he took your franchise there. Because Assassin's Weed, that's 2007, so, gotta make that clear.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
The voice actor in there, Edwyn, Tiong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did you come across him? Because I think that was kind of his peak days where he was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was everywhere, man. Exactly.
It was like a kind of a clique of voice actors that started on Newgrounds, which have now gone on to do pretty cool stuff. I mean, I think Edwyn's in a game called Freedom Planet right now.
Oh, what's that one about?
I think it's a platformer game that's on Steam actually, and it's actually has a lot of the sort of Newgrounds core voice actors on there. So
yeah, I got lucky to get him. He wasn't crazy special at that point. Like, he was kind of in his rookie phase a little bit, and he just auditioned like anyone else. That was before he got sort of blown up, and I don't really know where he is or what he's up to right now. You could probably tell me. You said there was the one platformer that was out right now.
Well, he's got an IMDb. I kind of check in on his IMDb every now and then. Looks like he's doing all right.
Yeah, that guy, he worked with me before in some other things. I actually made a small tribute video of just all the collected projects he and I had done together. So I think it's like 3 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, actually, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself with Assassin's Weed, which I think got front page. So don't feel too bad about it,
No, I don't feel anything. That's the thing. I've done so many of these. I feel nothing anymore.
There's Head in a Water Cooler. Let's not forget Head in a Water
Lord,
Cooler.
That was like 80% torn from other shit. I'm sure if you've seen one Simpsons episode, you could piece that together. But I'm not making money off of it. It's just something I like to do. So it doesn't matter what I steal.
Head in a Water Cooler. Definitely worth checking out. No, I kind of want to go back to, I guess the 90s is when you kind of grew up, right?
Yes.
So for you, creatively, what was really the first kind of thing? Was it drawing, I would imagine? Or?
Definitely. Didn't grow up with a lot of money. Paper was cheap. Pencil was cheap. Just unlimited entertainment if you, had your head on for it, and I did. And I was pretty good at it. So. What
was the first kind of video game that you remember? Wasn't Donkey Kong, but...
Oh, you mean like the first one I played, like professionally or whatever?
Yeah, or just saw or were aware of.
Yeah, no. Do you remember old school Prince of Persia, like NES and stuff like that? Sega, Genesis. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the Jordan Mechner guy was like the one guy who did it, because back then, a single team or a single guy of like 1 to 4 guy could just make that,
sell it from their house.
I mean, you can still do it now. It's even easier. But yeah, that was like one of the first ones. Sonic, the original Sonics were pretty big, I mean, you gotta remember, this is the 90s, so they're putting kids in front of the in front of the babysitter, basically, when they're putting them in front of the games, and that's what took place right there. Yeah.
And then obviously programming was not something that was really part of the school curricula. I'm not sure if that's changing, but I suppose you were kind of an autodidactic in that department. Like, you had to... It was probably the internet for you that unlocked all this knowledge.
Well, it definitely helped. Obviously, things are a lot easier now than they were. You could just go and get free stuff or discounted stuff or pirate things, God forbid, that, to be honest, like most of my my Flash games days, I didn't pay for any of that. I just got a friend to give that to me. You take me to court. What are you going to do?
So was Flash the very, very first program you used, or was there something before that? Maybe, I think ClickTeam had a lot of good software already around those days.
Yeah, ClickTeam came out with... ClickTeam had a program. They had a number of them, but the one I used was Multimedia Fusion 2, and I got the Pro Edition, and I just went to town with that. But, a lot of the things I released, like, they kind of... they're very buggy because it's a great program, but I always had bigger ambitions than they could really kind of contain. Like, they're mostly for... when you think of those phone games where you're shooting the ball around, like Breakout or something like that. Yeah, I didn't want to do those.
Right. So when you try to run your stuff, it would just be too big.
It wasn't enough. Yeah. I still find that problem right now, but Unity, it's got a lot more wiggle room, so that's why I'm happy where I'm at right now.
And then around 2006, I guess that's when you kind of started messing around with Flash. I guess the first one we can talk about is This Magic?
Oh, Lord.
Which I believe is basically a jump scare thing, right?
It is basically a jump scare, yeah. This is almost like looking back at old pictures of, like, teenage years, or just when you look like shit and, like, you're embarrassed by it. But yeah, it was there. You got to start somewhere. Those aren't my masterpieces.
Yeah, I sometimes want to go back and get rid of it, but it's part of the history.
Yeah, it's good to see the change.
And then a year later, a bit of a more serious release with Stabika. I've also heard people say Stabika. I'm not sure what pronunciation is of that. I've heard both, Stabika and Stabika.
Well, it's a made-up word, which all words are made up, but this one in particular doesn't mean anything. It's not in the dictionary. I call it I could say Stabika because and you're gonna laugh. That show King of the Hill, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, with like Texas, propane, all that. There's just this one. There's this one throwaway episode where I guess the Peggy character's smuggling drugs to somebody in prison, and she's coming up with a name for that game you play where you stab the knife between your fingers really quick, and she just called it Stabika, and I thought, hey, nobody's using that, right? I'll take that. It's I don't know if you ever heard the expression like good artists paint and great artists steal or something like that. There's some truth to that. Just great artists, everything's
look like I know what a Stabika is. So yeah, Stabika, and you mentioned Prince of Persia. I can definitely see that influence. A bit of sci-fi stuff in there, like 12 Monkeys time traveling ideas. I can even see a bit of the Sonic influence there. Was that kind of the intent? Like, is that how that idea came about? Like, I want to have something that's kind
for
of
Stabika?
Yeah. For
sure, and like the parkour stuff and the smooth transitions between things, that was really what I wanted to nail, What's it called? The Stabika one was actually, like when I started finding people online to work with, because I didn't know how to do the code, I was just the animation and whatnot, and that was the first thing that I really started working with other people on, and that was Matt Porter was a guy I worked with on that and you, again, blame him for the fucking red balloons or whatever, but he already had the art assets, and he's like, hey, let me put it together, and then he got drunk and showed it to me, and I was like, all right, it's done, let's do it.
Never heard from him again. But that game, that made some kind of an impact, didn't it? Right away, or did that take some time to pick up? Like, I think that's...
I mean, it turned some heads at the time. Word of mouth, that's... one person showed one person, and so on and so forth, and next thing you know, people talk about like something you made when they were growing up, and that's pretty cool,
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still playing it, and God bless Newgrounds for preserving the Flash legacy now that it's Adobe's started to doom clock on Flash, right?
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening December, I believe, of this year. As the year goes. It probably just costs money to keep it going, and I don't know if anybody really uses it as much anymore. It's always money, right? On a side note about Stabika, like, I was trying to hit you up about doing the music for the new project and whatnot. Yeah, so I don't know if you've been keeping any tabs. Right now I'm kind of doing, like, I do jump around a lot, and it is just me, so these projects take some time. But the Bloodhawks thing that I'm, kind of pushing right now, it's going to take elements of the Stabika when you hop off whatever, monster you're riding, and it's got, the platform in bits, and we'll talk some more about that, like, over email, but I think that's probably going to be the main push project. So if you're involved, if you're interested, we can touch base. Otherwise, I can float it to someone else, but definitely want to run it by you first after the Astrocreep thing. You really did a hell of a job on that.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. That was a really fun project to do.
Oh, absolutely.
It's entered in the Game Developers World Championship. We have to wait for December, right, until we get word on that.
I believe December. I keep checking the page every day. It's kind of weird, like it must be very not as official as I thought it was, because it's nice motivation, though, other than just to have something to work towards. It's good to have a goal to get you out of bed. You got to have something.
It's cool. It's cool. I mean, I saw there's a lot of Let's Plays of the game popping up right now. Are you contacting Let's Players, or how do they find it?
Yeah, that's... I'm basically doing...
Because suddenly there's like 6 Let's Plays.
Yeah, I'm there was a time where all I did for like a week and a half is just guerrilla marketing, which, is a fancier way of saying spamming people, like, play my shit. And it's got some backlash because nobody likes spam, but dude, have you seen the landscape out there? Even people with money can't get, their projects looked at. You can't give this shit away anymore. It's a whole new landscape.
I mean, in this case, it worked out pretty good. Most people seem to be pretty positive about it.
Yeah, it's not like I'm hitting them up. Again, it's a free thing. They can take it or leave it.
And kudos for putting all the names at the beginning, because it's pretty funny to see the Let's Players try to pronounce them.
Oh, yeah, dude. Every one I've seen, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And she's a great actress, very talented. She does a lot of good work for me, but one hell of a name for people.
That's a long-ass name.
And it really bums her out, that people can't really say it, and I feel for her, but it's not like John, dude. You gotta be sympathetic if people don't know how to say those words sometimes.
Let's see, do we need to talk about Power Plop?
Sure, if you want. We are going to be talking about the good games, too, right? Like, I'm not just wasting my time explaining my failures.
No, actually, Million Face Man. Let's go to that one. This is one of those completely absurd ideas. It almost feels like you were messing around in some...
You can thank drugs for that.
So how did it come about? It's like this idea of a guy endlessly spamming faces.
I heard like a fact that like apparently people, you don't see it because, thank God it's gross, but apparently people flake like skin cells, like just a fine mist, like all day. It's always coming off of you. And I thought, what if it didn't end with skin cells and it just progressed to faces? And
if it's a whole face.
Yeah, and, obviously,
Million Face Man.
He's a freak. But that was the point. Like, his origin was he was in a freak show.
So he works...
Yeah.
He works at a freak show, but then he rebels against the freak show.
No.
How did PewDiePie...
Dude, fuck PewDiePie, man. I gotta tell you, I'll say it loud and clear, because...
I'll put that in the thumbnail for this.
Yeah, fuck PewDiePie. That'll, you know what? There's no such thing as bad publicity. The Suits and Nukes guy says fuck PewDiePie. Go ahead, put it in there, get my name out there, whatever it takes, right? But no, it's not even a personal thing. Like, he just did what he does, and it's not like it's not flattering, for the people who made the game. In case you were ever stopped to think about it, like a lot of Let's Plays are kind of on the entertainment.
Well, I saw the video. I mean, it wasn't really ripping on it, I felt. He was just kind of having fun with it,
Well, I mean, he's not the worst, dude. And there's a certain degree of, sensitivity that you cannot have as a developer.
Sure.
But just, I've made so many and I've seen so many. It's like a war against people who don't even know what they like sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who did the Face Man song at the end, by the way? At the end of the game?
Oh, well, not to sound like a broken record, but you can thank drugs for that, too. That's me in a closet, just kind of riffing. Like, obviously, you know where the song comes from, right? Like, I think it was like a theme song for
it's
Hawaii 5-0. I mean, would you believe I don't remember like making a lot of these games? You know. All truth be told, I actually celebrated that night when that came out. I don't know, just it's my own thing, you know. As a developer, I gotta kind of get over it a little bit because I'm not selling this shit. It's not for profit yet. I would like to eventually maybe make some money, but it just gets so complicated, man. To just go from releasing something for free, like all the red tape and legal shit is ridiculous. But yeah, truth be told, like I was pretty happy when I saw that because, you know, anybody that big you can sort of get big for a couple of hours at least just because they looked at something you did. Certainly not ripping. It's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess I would say. You know, you got to take when people like try to make their shit entertaining using you. Do you remember Phil Fish? Not to ramble too much, but do you remember him?
I remember some controversy surrounding that name. Yeah.
Well, he made the Fez game that came out for like the indie game scene back when Meat Boy came out and shit. So yeah, people gave him shit and he was kind of showing his ass, and for a while, I'm like everyone else, I love to watch a celebrity burn, okay? But after the smoke kind of settled, like I look back and I thought, you know, that he kind of had a point. Like all these people playing games is a job now, you know, and that was never a thing. And you got to imagine these people, they're just playing games, and the people making them, you know, you're kind of taken from them a little bit. Well, you kind of are, that's all. Like, he wanted reparations and all that, like, give the creators money, but I'm not pushing for that either. I'm just saying, like, it would be nice if things were a little more balanced. I
mean, it's also a type of promotion for your thing.
I mean, yeah, that's also kind of the deal, is the people who play it, they get their money's worth, so to speak. So once they see the video, there's no reason to go to the game. Not to say that it's robbing, but it sort of is, you know? I don't know. In the same coin, the person wouldn't know about the thing that they're not going to do now because they now know about it. You know what I mean? You can't complain about it. It's
better than nobody talking about it.
Yeah, it's good at the end of the day just to be recognized for, okay, you did a thing and it wasn't just screaming into the void, because, you know, you're taking time out of the one life that, you know, for all we know, we're ever going to get. So, you know, when you could be running around going down to Smoothie Shack or whatever and, you know, bike riding with friends, you're in a fucking, you know, dark room in front of a screen making magic happen. Hopefully.
And then let's not forget about Markiplier. I think one of the first games of yours that he played was, pretty sure it was Astrocreep.
I think it was too.
Or was it actually, I think it was Spime, right?
I don't know, but Markiplier, he's a saint. I got nothing to say bad about him, man. He does what he can to make you look good, and that's super appreciated in today's very fickle world. I'm pretty sure it was Astrocreep, because Astrocreep's kind of where my stuff started to take off. Something about sending a worm up a guy's ass in outer space. People really seem to enjoy that. So, just spread around.
I don't think he even did the Littlest Penguin, which is also a curious example of where it seems like you were reading a Dr. Seuss poem one day and thought, you know, I'm going to do something like this, but completely fucked up.
No, the honest truth is I had lost my job not long before that. It was a real sweet job, a real do-nothing, get a lot of money kind of one that, you know, really only kind of comes along if you're, like, beautiful, you know? So, you know, that was sad to see that go. But, yeah, instead of climbing a clock tower, I just made a little story about a penguin, and here we are, you know?
Yeah, that's a different game idea.
Yeah, well, I've explored that avenue quite a bit. I'm sure you've seen Captain Flamethrower series in there. I mean, I just want to say this right now. Real life violence isn't funny, but jokes about it certainly are, because they're jokes and jokes are funny. So, yeah.
Goes for a lot of stuff.
Sure, yeah, it goes for everything.
Yeah, Psychoscape.
Yeah, that one I'm pretty happy with.
That one's really cool. Yeah. Was Bill Cosby chosen as the antagonist because that was
yes, that was
at the time, I think, right?
That was an opportunity.
That was on your list for a while, and now you had the perfect.
Let me put it to you this way: if the OJ case had been happening, I don't know, maybe it would have been. You know what it really was, though. We really liked the jokes at my house of like the Bill Cosby, like on Family Guy or on The Simpsons, like the clips where they used Cosby in it. Like this one, I don't know. I don't want to get too into it. We'll be here all day, but it just seemed like Cosby was a good fit at the time.
Yeah, so the kind of inside stuff seeps into the ideas for the games. Let's see, Vicious Activation. Oh, that's
sure.
Space Odyssey, basically, or.
Yeah. Actually, a little jail bot. Do you watch Super Jail?
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's obviously what the face comes from there. Just a little pixelated frowny face. I almost got that tattooed on me somewhere. I won't tell you where, but crazier days come and gone.
Yes, Murder Express.
The 2D or the 3D?
Well, I can't seem to find the 2D.
Well, when the first one came out, I released it 2016, I think it looks like here. I got the Newgrounds page open myself just to keep it together. Yeah, there was this one game actually on Game Jolt called Murder at Masquerade Manor. Have you ever heard of that one?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, well, it basically it came out sometime before, and it was the same idea. Right, like you, basically the same thing Murder Express was, where it was random, but it was people at like a party in a mansion with a bunch of masks, and they'd stab you in the back while you're asking for questions. And I thought, well, I could do that on a train, because a train is like 2D, that takes care of that. It just kind of makes it easier. It simplified it by keeping it on just a left and right kind of plane, because once you open it up to 3D, you wouldn't imagine the problems you could get just by trying to walk around.
Right, and that was kind of the beginning of a whole series of, I guess you could call it whodunit games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Astrocreep's one.
Yeah, the whodunit style ones all kind of follow a similar formula where you'll have 9 or 10 possible aggressor type characters, and you got to figure out, usually with a blood test, because I'm crazy about The Thing. You ever seen that movie?
Yes.
I got fucking t-shirts, fucking everything, things the shit, and I'm probably gonna take a break from that now, because I think 8 or 9 games of blood test are enough, right? So move on to something else.
Well, I guess the fun thing about those games is that they have a pretty high replay value. They're never exactly quite the same. It's someone different every time.
It's hard to do a game that surprises you, that as the guy making it, it's like, all right, I know exactly what it's gonna do because I made it happen, but how do I take that control away from myself and make it fun again for me?
And then with Astrocreep, there's a pretty huge dialect tree you had to put together there.
Yeah, that part was not fun.
How did the 3D Switch go for you?
Well, like I was saying with the Click team, I was really happy that I was in control, not needing a coder's help, but I was really held back with when I released it. All the games sort of ran like shit, and there was a certain size limit that I couldn't hit. That's why Spime, the 2D one, had to be broken into 2 pieces, even though it's just maybe 5 minutes worth of content, as opposed to maybe a half hour you had taken before. Which, small note on Spime, you can beat it by just running to the right. Just run to the right until the game's done. But there's so many distractions and so many variances that hopefully tempt people off the path and tell the story I wanted to tell with that one. But you just beat it running right. It's such a bullshit game,
So for Unity, you really had to look into a lot of more coding stuff that was completely new to you.
It was all new. It was basically starting from the ground up. I knew how to do 2D art, but not really for this.
What was the very first Unity? It wasn't Voodoo Side, right? It was.
You mean my first solo Unity project?
Yeah, first big 3D project.
That would actually be the Littlest Penguin 3D remake.
Oh, there's a 3D version of that one as well?
Oh, dude, you didn't know? You're killing me, really? You didn't know about the 3D one?
I have to check that out. That would be a good...
Yeah,
I could see why you would start with that one. The most straightforward.
Again, mechanically, it's pretty simple. It's just a walking sim
Yeah,
with
yeah.
some gruesome narration, you know? It's a great place to start.
Are you looking to expand, like, the Suits and Nukes family, if you will? Are you trying to get a little team going?
I would certainly like to. Next step wise, that would be cool. What a lot of people don't really understand about the industry, and you know what I still don't understand, because even I'm not in the industry, I just do the indie thing. But you know, being interested, you put your ear to the ground, you listen to news, and it seems like a really harsh landscape, even for people who, like, you know, got to go to school. I didn't get to do any of that. You know, this is all self-taught because I couldn't afford it and all that fun stuff. But apparently people who, you know, throw down the money and, you know, really fuck up their lives financially trying to make this work, they're coming out the other side and they're right back to bussing tables because there's just not enough freaking jobs, man. It's unfortunate. But if I could, you know, I was thinking I already kind of got all the skills I need. Like, if I were to hire an extra programmer or an extra artist, like, then I got to start having meetings to get everybody on board with that shit. Like, I just do this from my head and it moves faster that way. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had to, you know, like, Astrocreep 2 went through 11 programmers, man, and it still didn't get done. I don't even know what else to say to that. 11 freaking guys couldn't pull this crap off with me. I mean, am I that hard to work with? I don't know.
11? What were you doing that in?
That was a Unity project, but I wasn't touching Unity program-wise. I was sending the art to just this guy who was helping, and we were...
Right, you would think, yeah.
We were going to get money for it. We were going to freaking go all the way. We got a publisher lined up, and then the guy just got cold feet. I don't know what his deal was, and I've forgiven the whole thing since then, but I was pretty livid at the time, let me tell you. That was a big opportunity, just pissed away.
11, yeah, you would think one of them would get it done. I think that as far as Unity programmers go, there's a lot out there.
Yeah, but none of them want to work for free.
But yeah, as you've said, I mean, you've got a decent skill set by now. You've got an impressive portfolio, I would say. There's a lot of stuff that you can already just show right away.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought so.
It's hard to start your own thing and be in charge of everything. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Absolutely, and
like get everyone on the same page.
And not even just same page stuff. Like there's so much overhead that comes with businesses. Like, you got to hire, you know, human resources. You got to hire legal teams and just all this stuff that as a, you know, how do you even make the game? That's what you're focused on. You're not even thinking about these other things, but you need to. You got to wear every hat under the sun to pull this off. And, you know, at the end of the day, maybe that's why I get a little sensitive when people, you know, want to sit there and, you know, critique this and that when they haven't done shit themselves. Now, listen, I'm the first advocate to say you don't have to be a chef to know when food in your mouth tastes shitty, you know? You don't have to be a game developer to know when a game you're playing kind of sucks. But at the same time, a certain level of appreciation would do a lot of good for the perspective of critics out there right now. And I just think that there's something to be said about that. That's all.
I think a lot of them don't understand that it was one guy slaving away in his spare time. So for now, it's just going on the indie track, just trying to make your own stuff, and whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely. And hey, on that subject, let me ask you this. You know, I mean, you're doing the music thing every now and then. When am I the only guy you're working with? Or are you taking any other freelance style projects out there?
It's very hard to find the time and resources for it, I guess.
Yeah.
I've seen people kind of use some of my music. I mean, you found my stuff on Nukes,
right? I did.
But I'm not actively putting myself out there at the moment.
Well, that's very interesting. When I approached you, I just imagined you were on the same page I was, you know. But I guess you were just dropping down whatever you had, and just because you had it, and you were maybe looking for some feedback or something.
As far as Astrocreep was kind of a coincidence that was a kind of horror style project, which was something I had some experience in, kind of ambient style stuff. And voodoo side as well, you know. It's just, and this goes for a lot of your stuff. It's like taking a kind of ludicrous idea to the extreme. something that I appreciate.
Okay.
And I think you couldn't do a lot of this actually with a studio. There'd just be too many cooks, I guess, meddling with it.
Sure.
People saying, let's not have Bill Cosby be the protagonist.
Right, and they would make points, because if you're trying to make money or something, that's not a good way to go.
Yeah, you can't have Bill Cosby.
Hey,
I would imagine no.
Let me tell you this, and I may not ever do it, or I may, I don't know, find out I'm dying of some disease and decide it's the only thing that matters. But I had this really outrageous idea for a game, probably, again, my last game, because why the fuck would anybody listen to me afterwards? But basically, the whole game is this just cinematic, artful approach to this, do you remember the guy who walked between the Twin Towers? Like, it was illegal, but he did it anyway. Like, he put the beam down and did, a tightrope walk. Okay, my game would be, the Empire State Building, right? It would be like this, you'd be this guy who's been training his whole life for this, and basically you start at the top of the Empire State Building, and then you shove the entire building up your ass for the whole game. It just stretches. You got people on the inside, with the view, right, of the inside of the ass, dropping over the window, and it's gonna be disturbing. And just, I'm gonna tip my hat and say thank you, everyone. Bye bye. That's gonna be it. No more me after that.
Well, when the clock is ticking, that's gonna have top priority. Yeah.
my career suicide. But basically, it's gonna be a controller game, and you hold the triggers, and the left and the right trigger will control each ass cheek, and you gotta figure out which rhythm works you down the building or whatever. It's gonna be, and the guy's screaming and flailing the whole time. It's ridiculous. But enough of my dreams right now.
Is there any concept art of that out already, or?
Oh God, no.
just in your head at the moment.
Yeah, just picture a cartoon character, when Wile E. Coyote gets flattened, and use your imagination. I don't know. But yeah, you back to the shit.
Get some attention, I think.
The shit that really does exist right now. Yeah, I was thinking about also another big runner for future projects would be the nightmare fishing concept that I had. I was thinking of coming back with that and just going even bigger with it, the next step, basically.
Here we go. I found some of the Bloodhawks Joust-like project.
Yeah, it's not terribly detailed and exciting just yet, but I'm setting up the foundations for it.
Well, neither was Joust.
Oh, yeah. Which, incidentally, I did a Bloodhawks already, a 2D one. Maybe you saw it on Newgrounds.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I've seen that one. That was quite Joust-like. Oh, these animations are looking really cool. Seems like you're it's still pretty cartoony, but it's more, I don't know.
Well, what I actually use is I use a filter, a shader over all my graphics called RealTune. I picked it up off the asset store, and it's got a lot of options to it. You could do outlines and shit like that, but it also gets that real Borderlands-y looking kind of cell shade deal, and yeah, I think cartoony is definitely the way I want to go. I could go a little more realistic, but it's more work, and it doesn't look as good, as long. That's why BioShock looks pretty good right now, because even though it's not realistic, they went with such a art style that it holds up over time, and that's sort of what I'm looking for, over realism.
Yeah, I'm just watching them toss this thing over back and forth.
Oh, that's actually the player. You jump off of it. You'll see when you play it.
What kind of music were you thinking for this game? You kind of looking for medieval kind of sounding music, or?
I'm not sure, because the first one did lean pretty heavy into that medieval stuff, but I've never been super into that myself, the knights and whatnot.
Oh, damn, we have to plug Ninja Volleyball HD, by the way.
Oh, the new one? I forgot I had that one.
Addicting Games, right?
Yeah. You know what actually happened with that?
Yeah, tell me about that.
This one, the interesting thing about this is they had overpaid me for the 2D Astrocreep. I had gotten that sponsored by them as well, by twice as much. So that was an $800 thing. And then they said, oh, well, we screwed up pretty good here. You just put in another game. Well, we'll keep that, and you just keep the money, and we'll call it even. And that's how that went down. So that was pretty cool. $800, 2 days of work. Not too bad, right? Some intern fucked up, and I made a mint. Sounds good to me.
Well, that seems like a nice high note to end it on for now.
Yeah, I should have quit it there. Like, my whole career should have stopped there.
Let's see. Is there anything coming down the pipes?
Yeah, if you want to do this again at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Maybe when something's close to being released or something.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, down the pipes, I pretty much told you everything there is to tell you.
Yeah, it's Bloodhawk right now. It's in full gear production.
And obviously, I'm trying to get it to somewhere before I hit you up about the music, but I'm going to try to get you involved if you're interested or available there.
Absolutely interested. This looks very promising.
It's going to be fun, man. You're going to be happy you did it.
Let's rev it up. Appreciate your time.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me.